This is my AGI Studio One work in progress video covering weeks 1 and 2. Here are a few works that have influenced and helped to frame and refine my folio plan. M.C. Escher's Hand with Reflecting Sphere is a lithograph of a hand holding a reflective sphere. The face of the sphere shows the artist's reflection and his studio surrounding him. Escher was fascinated by unusual vantage points or perspectives that were based on theoretical premises. The idea of a self-portrait in a convex or curved surface steps away from the more conventional ways of how self-portraits are created. It is a self-portrait, but it also is an exploration of perspective and how this can change the dynamic of what is intended. Escher's works explore the contrast between what was physically created with a 2D flatness and the illusion of a 3D space or fill. This is the same path I would like to explore and convey in my folio plan, a unique visual 2D illustration of an object in a 3D space. Another source of inspiration is the Satisfying Render Collection, a series of renders from an independent production studio called Corridor Crew based in Los Angeles. The Satisfying Render Challenge involved studio artists challenging each other to make the most satisfying renders and using various tools to create short animation loops that reflected the theme. The use of sound in their challenge, I think, further emphasized the experience of visual satisfaction. In addition to the visual observation, I hope to use sound to heighten the experience. Let's Eat by Amon Studios is a short animation film about an immigrant mother and her daughter going through a journey of growing up and apart. The short animation film covers the topics of coping with family loss, memories, and nostalgia through a common theme: food. It's an authentic story that many people of diverse backgrounds and experiences can understand and empathize with. The idea of an object or idea that remains constant through time is a concept I'm exploring in my folio plan. It's also one of the reasons behind my fascination with vintage objects like film cameras and typewriters. What reactions and memories are triggered when one comes across an object that is associated with a memory one has? For my folio plan, I would like to create a series of 2D animated isometric vignettes of an object in a 3D space and to emulate that almost interactive feel. In the series, I would like to explore 3 animation tests: to recreate a small movement that causes the subject to also move, a conversation or dialogue over the subject, and a physical blemish on the subject that shows age and an amount of time having passed. The object in mind is a teacup and saucer. Why a teacup and saucer? It is a simple subject, but it allows me to easily explore the concept of an object getting passed down from one generation to another. It is a simple subject that everyone interacts with and thus becomes an easily relatable experience. I like to think that our teacup and saucer friends are the additional listeners in a conversation you may have with your parents, siblings, or grandparents. It is a piece of item that we normally don't tend to think much of, except for those who admire crockery. For weeks 1 and 2, I began with an initial sketch and animation test using real-life cups and saucers for reference in Procreate. I also began modeling simple objects in Blender, such as a mushroom, and eventually modeled a basic mug. What I hope to achieve in weeks 3 and 4 is to successfully model a teacup and saucer that will be usable in short animation tests in Blender. I will also experiment with small movement animations to get a better understanding of how to animate inanimate objects. As part of the 2D animation aspect of my folio plan, I will also be using the grease pencil tool. Although I've never used this tool before, I hope to get better practice at it. I'm still not proficient in Blender, so I expect this will take some time. As Aristotle quotes, "Excellence is not an art, it is the habit of practice."